feeling the stability of this posture and feeling the openness of it. And then on an exhale, we can just relax, settling into this posture as an organic expression, noticing the movement within it. So upright and open, inhaling, upright, exhaling, settling and opening up. And as we come to sit for a period of Zazen, here we have a Zendo and we're walking from some part of the campus towards the Zendo. And as we do, we're collecting our awareness. So for you, wherever it is you sit in your in your house, apartment, wherever it is you find your seat, even before you get there, noticing that, oh, it's 5 minutes till I'm going to go sit, and gathering your awareness in this way. And then it's nice if you have an altar or something to bow to as you enter that space. It could just be a little statue of a Buddha. I have a little statue of a squirrel monk in monk regalia that gives me some levity, but also is his own manifestation of the Buddha. Something, I also have an altar with the teachers who have led me to this practice. So something to remind you of why you sit. But we also bow to the altar as we come into our space, which is bowing to the Dharma. And then we find our cushion and we bow to our cushion, bowing to the seat of the Buddha. Then we turn around and we bow to the whole world, or to our community, bowing to the Sangha. So we're settling our awareness and we're taking refuge even before we sit down. And then we sit and we're in this posture and we're doing the same. We're gathering our awareness. We're taking refuge in being right here as we are. And for these first few breaths of sitting, inhaling, gathering our awareness, exhaling, dropping into the body. Inhaling, gathering our awareness, exhaling, dropping into the body. And having settled our awareness here, gathered ourselves, allowed whatever came before to fall away, we bring to mind our intention, our bodhisattva vow, to wake up with all beings, to relieve the suffering of the world, and to make that a felt sense rather than just an idea. Bring to mind someone in your life facing hardship. It could be a loved one who's ill, someone who's sitting at the bedside of the dying. It could be a community member who has just recently fallen on difficult times. It doesn't have to be upregulating, but bring to mind someone who's facing difficulty to remind us that suffering is never far away, and that it's our natural inclination to come alongside. So bringing this person or situation to mind, let it open your heart. And then placing that intention beneath us, like the ground on which we sit, allowing it to perfume our practice. Now bringing our awareness just to the breath in the body. Noticing the inhale and the exhale. For these first few breaths, dropping the breath into the belly if it's willing to go there. And if not, noticing the breath wherever it is in the body. And we can notice the full sensation of the breath. The inhale, expansive. The exhale, emptying out. And now, marking the end of each exhale by counting, inhaling, exhaling, counting 1. Next exhale, counting 2. And 3. And with all of our sense gates open, anchoring our awareness with the breath, sitting upright, strong back, soft front, simply following the breath and allowing your awareness to include everything that arises and passes away. And if you notice your mind wander onto a thought, simply return it to the breath in the body. Whether it's been a short time or a while, no judgment. The sweetness of returning, of noticing and returning, and then just begin again. And as you sit, anchoring your awareness with your breath, thoughts will come and go. The mind is the sixth sense, and it produces thoughts just like the eyes produce sight. Can't slow or change these thoughts any more than we could turn off our sight while our eyes are open. And so we notice thoughts, but we don't hold on to them. We don't believe them. So this posture and this breath are like a vast sky, endless and all-encompassing. And within that vast sky, thoughts can come and dissipate. They can be large or small, light and fluffy, or dark and foreboding. No matter. We simply sit like the vast open sky, returning to the quality of awareness that includes all things. And if you followed his thought, you followed it down the block or across town, upon noticing, return to the breath and the body. And each time we return, we can notice our posture. Have we listed from one side or to the other? Are our thumbs pushing or have they fallen apart? And in a slow, just subtle way, resetting our posture as we reset our awareness. Coming back to the middle, noticing our thumbs gently touching, and beginning again on the exhale. And in this stillness, we may notice, or rather, insight into the nature of things may arise of its own accord. Into no self, into how deeply interconnected all things are, or how suffering and awakening pervade all experience, may be broken open by these feelings. And if any of this arises, we can bring a curious, open awareness to it. Allow it to arise fully and unfold. And without attaching as good or bad, also allowing it to fall away of its own accord. And returning to the breath and the body. And with this final breath or couple breaths, dedicating the merit of practicing in this way, whatever good has come, to the benefit of others. And in particular, perhaps bringing to mind whomever you thought of to begin this practice. Connecting with all beings. And then we'll bow together. So thank you everyone for a little morning meditation. Always nice to lead a meditation audibly. I remind myself what we're doing. And I like to be led by others too, rather than constantly coming back to my own mind. So I hope that was useful. And this is a period where we open up to just discussion. So if you have questions about meditation, if anything has come up in this guided meditation that you want to ask about, really questions about the forms or about the details, the kind of structure and craft of Zen, go ahead, please. And you can raise your little digital hand. Karen, go ahead, or you could just raise your hand. Good morning.
Thank you. I'm glad I returned for the second instruction. I still have questions. So I've had a practice for quite a while, but not Zazen in this way. And so this winter practice period has been incredibly rich. So I've always closed my eyes, and here I'm trying to keep that hooded gaze, and it's often distracting. And it's like a thought in a way. I have a question about that, but also when we sit in the structure of the day for that longer time, I've not been sure, do I come back to counting my breath, or does that finally, what is there a letting go of that and being in that openness of just breathing the body, noticing when a thought has drawn me away and coming back to the breath. But that the longer, so that's the question. Questions.
Thanks, Karen. Those are both very good questions. So I'll start with eyes open. It is our tradition to keep our eyes open, and we can think of it as just keeping all sense gates open. So we notice touch, we notice smell, we notice sight, we notice thoughts. And it's helpful because closing our eyes can make us dreary or sleepy. And it can also add to kind of solipsism if we're not using, if we're using our eyes being closed to imagine something, it can be very helpful. But keeping our eyes open can ground us right where we are. Oh, we're right here in this room. That's the floor. It's like very matter of fact. Of course, if you're used to something else, it'll take time, but I'm sure with a few days of sitting like this, you won't even notice. It can be helpful to notice the periphery of your vision as you begin sitting, because it kind of softens your gaze. You're not looking for things. I spent a lot of time when I started sitting a lot, frustrated, like I wasn't resting my gaze in the right place. Like it was supposed to be a certain way and it wasn't. And that's just kind of like the posture feeling uncomfortable, right? We're just getting used to the stillness of our visual sight, our visual field. So I would really encourage you to just keep going with it and it'll calm down. In terms of the breath, that's a really good reminder that we return to the breath and the counting of the breath on the exhale as an anchor. But we don't have to, we can let go of that anchor, knowing that we can always come back to it if our awareness becomes unsettled. So as we become still, we can let go of counting. And as you point out, we're always with the breath. Our awareness is always anchored, even if we're not counting the breath. Even maybe if we don't notice it as the primary object for our awareness, we're so practiced in beginning with the breath and returning when we are brought off by a thought or an emotion, that the breath is always there. Chogyam Trungpa says it's like touching a buoy in the ocean. We're in the ocean of all things, and all things are allowed through us, but there's something keeping us afloat. And that's just like 20% of our awareness buoyed by the breath. So yeah, we can let go, and letting go of counting can help open up. The counting grounds us, keeps us still. And as we let go, we open up more. So great reminder. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it. Okay, what's on people's minds? Anything, any questions, any thoughts, any comments? We'll go back in and sit together shortly. Yeah, Catherine.
Catherine bowing in. Thank you.
Hi, Catherine.
I've really noticed, I've meditated for a long time. And during COVID time, I would have my meditation practice and it would be calm, and I would be online an awful lot. And during this sitting, I've really noticed how my ability to concentrate and focus, being on Zoom and meditating, is very different than sitting at home and meditating without the distraction of the screen. So I guess my question, I'm sure it's not an unusual one to be grappling with, your suggestions on how to gear ourselves to be able to hold both things at once. Bowing out.
So what do you find distracting?
Well, when we're in the meditation hall, and I'm sitting here and I'm seeing all this visual stimulation of these people I don't know, and this beautiful ritual and a different environment, I'm so drawn into that being seated within myself, it's like a competition with my interests. I wish I was there. Maybe that would be different.
Yeah, well, those are all good things that we all know well from the kind of territory of our awareness. So one is, well, I'm used to it another way. Now I'm doing it this way. I want it the way I'm used to. And the other is, well, I'm supposed to be going in, but this is drawing me out. And so there's this tension between inside and outside. And in our practice, we just drop a difference, a dichotomy between in and out, inside awareness and outside awareness, both awareness of phenomena arising and falling. So these things are very common, you're pointing to. We can, as we begin to sit at home, bring up Zoom, see everyone, greet everyone. The value of it is it reminds us that when we sit, even if we're physically alone, we're sitting with everyone. We're sitting with our Sangha, and we're sitting with all beings. And then you can put on the presenter view, or the view where you only see one image, and that might be the image of the Zendo, which is pretty calm. And again, if it's up, we're sitting and our eyes are cast down. So we're not like looking at the screen, which would be maybe a little too exciting, but we're with one another because we're connected in this way. And some people even come on, they connect, they turn on their video, and then at the beginning of the sit, when the bell sounds, they'll turn off their video and they'll turn off the sound and they'll turn down the brightness of the screen just to be together but not be distracted by it. Totally whatever works for you. And also to notice that when we think there's a problem, there's no problem. When we think there's like something else, it should be a different way. Our mind does that all the time. It's always supposed to be a different way. So you just come back to the breath. Yeah. Thank you, Catherine. Helen.
Thank you so much, Kozan. That was just a wonderful, gentle overview of all the aspects of our sitting. What is really almost new to me, I don't think I've heard it before, is the metaphor of the sky that you talked about. I love that. That's going to help me so much. And then to think of the individual thoughts that come in as little clouds. Some are dark, some are wispy, some are big and fluffy. And that's just beautiful image to me. So I'm going to take that away. I think it will really help my sitting a lot.
Good. Good.
To think of the vastness of the mind, it's vast. There are no borders. That was helpful. Thank you. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Helen. So good to see you. Glad you're sitting sesshin with us. Yeah.
Me too. Thank you.
Yeah. Stevie.
Thank you. I just wanted to offer a solution that I've been using about, a couple of people have brought up about meditating in front of a computer screen.
Yeah, please.
Because I find that just the light kind of harsh and the different colors and stuff going on. And I just have this dark cloth, I don't know if you can see it, with a white cloth on the other side, so that when it's time to meditate, I just cover up the computer and the screen so that I have a white field in front of me. It's helpful to me, so I hope it doesn't feel rude to anybody else.
Not at all. No, whatever works. And you're sharing the breadth of what we do practicing at home, everyone with their own way of practicing together. And sometimes people just come and join with audio. They don't even have the screen, just so you can hear the opening bell and the closing bell, and someone else is a timekeeper. So whatever works for people is perfect. Thank you, Stevie. And I love the ambiance of where you're sitting, candles, the darkness. So Peggy Jones asks, if you must lay down to meditate, where is it best to lay your hands? An interesting question. I generally put them on my body. I put them here. There's a teaching about falling asleep that you put your arm up, your forearm up, so if you fall asleep, it falls. That's kind of, I think it's Tibetan Buddhism, and it can be quite difficult if you're not used to it. It really, there's no mudra for lying down that I know of. You can put them by your side. The important part of meditating while you lie down is try not to fall asleep. So if that means your knees up or an arm up or whatever it is, that's the general tendency when we lie down early in the morning or late at night. It's much easier for our mind to wander too. So keeping your eyes open as you sit, as you lie down, if you have a dark room or it's not too bright, keeping your eyes open can be very helpful too. Yeah. Karen.
Yes, I have just one more question. This isn't about the sitting practice, but it's the first time I've done sesshin, and I went to the opening last night, which was so helpful. And there'll be this support session this evening, which will be even more helpful. So as this day unfolds, I've done as much as I can to figure out what my practice will be. Oh, that will probably change as far as silence at home and
yeah.
So I noticed that in today's schedule, there's Samu in the morning for those of you all there.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate here in practice at home to choose a task, but to do it in that way of silence and attentiveness, to have like a work task each day in this household?
Yeah, Karen, I get the sense this is going to be a very good sesshin for you. That's exactly right. To follow along with the spirit of the schedule in your own way is ideal, and not everyone can do that in the middle of their life. But if you can, picking a task during our Samu period, it may even be preparing food for yourself. One of the tasks here is people work in the kitchen, kind of prepping the meals, the next 3 meals. Cleaning is the other kind of go-to task we have. We clean our spaces. We sweep, we mop, we're tending to the space. So if you're able to do those kind of simple, not too thinky, not too kind of like techy tasks during the Samu hour, that's fantastic. Really noticing the whole body engaged with the activity. And for everyone practicing at home, Samu may be longer than an hour a day. In fact, for us here, it almost always is, which is to say, then people have other roles, like they're servers. And so during our oryoki, or 3 meals, there's 7 people serving. That's Samu. There are people cooking during, non-Samu hours. There are people tending to the Zendo. So we all have these other roles in the mandala. Work we have to do, Samu we have to do, and we're doing it in a certain way. And that's going to be true of everyone, all of you practicing at home. So noticing that work practice is not separate from sitting practice, and simply trying to make enough space and enough simplicity that throughout the week you can engage in it like that, instead of our usual kind of getting our to-do list done, or what do we want to do next? There's a structure of, oh, it's this time of day, we just do this next. So it's a fantastic question, and something I'll add in the future when we're orienting people. It's really important. So thank you, Karen. Yeah. All right. Last call. Any last thoughts? So we'll end here together in a moment with a bow, and Noah will, are we on the main room or a breakout room? We're in a breakout room. So Noah will close the breakout room, and we'll sit together in the Zendo. We have about 5 more minutes of sitting, and then 10 minutes of Kinhin, 40 minutes of sitting. And for our liturgy today, it's 1 year since since Thich Nhat Hanh passed, and we'll have a liturgy dedicated to Thai. We have 3 of his Dharma holders, his successors, here with us, who will offer words. So I hope you'll join us if you're able to. All right. Thanks, everyone.